A huge matchup in Mount Pleasant in gymnastics this afternoon. Kent State comes up to take on Central Michigan on ESPN3. Inside McGurk Arena, Adam Jackson and Jordan Charette with you. And Jordan, this is the biggest meet in the Mid-American Conference every single season. Kent State, Central Michigan, always at the top. Should be a fun one again today.
Absolutely. It's a meet that the Mid-American Conference looks forward to every season. Central Michigan, Kent State are notoriously 1 and 2 in the MAC, so we can expect a very competitive meet today.
Since 2003, when they started crowning regular season champions, Kent State has 8. Central Michigan has 7. So if you want to win the Mid-American Conference, it comes through these two teams. And no surprise, these programs are right back at the top again this season. Central Michigan coming in undefeated in the Mid-American Conference, 3-0. While Kent State, as you see, led by head coach Bryce Biggin, 2-1 in the MAC. 27th season as the Kent State head coach. His 38th with the Golden Flashes, as he was an assistant here as well. Also went to school at Kent State. They've had 21 NCAA regional appearances under him. There's Jerry Rygard walking away from the camera. 34th season for head coach Jerry Rygard. 15 MAC championships, including 5 straight, 7 MAC regular season titles. He has been fantastic. Both these coaches have done an excellent job in their respective programs, getting these teams to where they are at this point. We're ready for the first rotation. Central Michigan on the vault and Kent State on the bars. Here goes Gianna Plaxa.
She's going to do a front handspring onto the board, front handspring onto the vault, and a front tuck off. Very nice vault. Just 1 step backwards. It's going to be a slight deduction, but a strong lead off.
Plaxa, a junior from Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, as the Chippewas get going at home. Central Michigan coming off their 2nd win of the season against Illinois State. This is Sarah Lipowicz, as we'll go back and forth on the bars and the vault in the opening rotation.
She goes giant full into a Tkachev. Very nice amplitude on that release move. Right into a straddle back, just shy of handstand there. And she goes for her dismount. It's going to be a giant full into a double back. Just step forward, but a nice lead off routine for Kent State.
Sarah Lipowicz, the junior from Cincinnati. A regular on the uneven bars and also on the balance beam. Here comes Nora Fettinger, the freshman.
Nora's going to do your Yurchenko tuck full. Oh, she upgraded to a layout. That is awesome. Very much needed for that vault lineup.
Central Michigan first in the vault coming in to this meet. 34th in the country. They're averaging a 48.8. And it's always important, especially when you're at home, to get off to a good start in the competition. And the Chippewas have a nice couple of vault routines right away. Absolutely.
That was the first time that Nora competed a layout full. All season she's been competing a tuck full, which is a lower start value than the layout full. So that's very important for their vault lineup.
Back over to Kent State, another senior, Michaela Romito, Ohio native, ready to go for the Golden Flashes. A lot of nerves early on in a big-time meet like this between Kent State and Central Michigan. Scores are up for the Chippewas. Plaxa, 9.725. Fettinger, a 9.75.
Here goes Kennedy Ray Johnson. She's also going to do Yurchenko layout full. Just a step backwards. Here goes Michaela Romito. She does a pike Jaeger. A little bit of form break on that overshoot. And she goes for her dismount. Nice handstand into a giant full and a double back. Very nice routine.
So Romito, the senior, giving some energy to Kent State. Couple of top 2 rotations for each team. Kent State coming in 17th best in the country and first in the Mid-American Conference in their bar rotation. 48.97, their average this season.
Here goes Sydney Williams. She's going to do a Yurchenko layout full. Very nice. Chest was upright on that landing. Just a small step. That's exactly what you're looking for.
Coach Rygaard pleased with that from Williams. Gave her a nice high five. Again, Central Michigan continuing to score in the 9.7s. Kennedy Ray Johnson, a 9.775 to lead the way so far for CMU, with the best two vaulters coming up for the Chippewas. Katie Clements and Danelle Pedrick still set to go. There is Katie Clements, senior captain on this Chippewa team. Here goes Clements.
It's Allie Marrero on the bars. She does a giant full into a Ginger. Very nice form, legs glued together on that release move. She's gonna go straight to the high bar for her dismount. It's gonna be a double layout, very nice flat hips. Oh, she tries to hang on to that landing, but I don't know that they'll give her the stick. Just a little bit out of control on that landing, but overall, very clean routine.
So a nice rotation from the senior, and just moments ago, another senior. Here's Katie Clements, Jordan.
Here she does a Yurchenko layout full, amazing amplitude, just a small hop, but Katie really is an explosive athlete, and that is one thing that sets her apart from the rest of the vault lineup.
Scores keep getting better and better for Central Michigan. Williams at 9.8. On the side of Kent State, Lipowicz at 9.75 on the bars. Romito at 9.825. Here's Pedrick.
Here goes Danelle Pedrick. She's going to do Yurchenko double full. Only 10-0 start value in the lineup. Very nicely executed. Just a small form break in the air, but overall, very, very nice vault.
That's one of the toughest vault routines in the country. And impressive that Danelle Pedrick continues to do it only as a sophomore for Central Michigan.
She's one of a select few in the NCAA competing that level of difficulty on the vault. So it's very, very valued in the Central Michigan lineup.
Says a lot with how far she's come in just 2 seasons for CMU. And speaking of one of the best in the Mid-American Conference, here she is, Rachel Stepinski, getting set to go on the bars. 2-time MAC Gymnast of the Year, ready to get going in Mount Pleasant for the first time. She's a special talent.
Rachel Stepinski is very relied on in this Kent State lineup, in all of their lineup. She's an all-around athlete, anchors most of them, if not all of them. She does a very huge release move, Jaeger right into a bail. She's going to go to the high bar, kip, cast handstand. And her dismount is going to be a full in. She's looking to stick that landing, and she does. Very nice routine for Kent State.
You could see why she was the MAC champion on bars a season ago. Impressive from Stepinski. A couple of 9.8s up there for Kent State. Katie Clements with a 9.775, and Danelle Pedrick, she didn't disappoint, a 9.9 for the sophomore for Central Michigan. So the Chippewas, Jordan, with a 49.
49 flat is on track to where you want to be after your first event. We're looking to be 49 or higher. So that's a very good start for the Chippewas, and they're hoping to continue and build on that and keep the momentum rolling throughout the meet.
Still a couple more for Kent State. Timko and Kelly to go for the Golden Flashes. Central Michigan done with their vault routine, so Casey Janowitz is leading the Chippewas chant. You got to take advantage when you have the home meets.
Absolutely. You've got to play off the crowd and their energy and use it to your advantage.
Central Michigan will be able to do that too, as the MAC Championships will be hosted here in McGurk Arena March 24th. All the MAC schools will be here. Going to be a fun day on that Saturday. Here's Timko.
Brooke Timko is an event specialist on this event, so she's very valued in this lineup. Straddle Jaeger right into a bail, just like Rachel Stepinski did. She's going to go up to the high bar for her dismount. Very nice hit handstand. Giant full into a double back. And just a hop forward on that dismount, but a strong routine for Kent State.
So Brooke Timko, the senior with a good performance. And Coach Biggin said she is heavily relied on, as Jordan mentioned. Only a bar worker, but great job there in her rotation. Golden Flashes getting a 9.875 from Stupinski. Again, Central Michigan all set on the vault in our first rotation. The Chippewas with a 49 flat. Great score to open this meet. And it was anchored by the best score, Danielle Pedrick, a 9.9 on one of the hardest vault routines in the country. Katie Clements, a 9.775, and a 9.8 from Sydney Williams. Kennedy Ray Johnson, also a 9.775. So the last four scores, the best. No surprise for Central Michigan.
Absolutely, and that gradual build in scores that we see in Central's lineup is exactly what you're looking for. You know, you're looking for a strong, consistent, very reliable leadoff, and hope that the scores continue to build from there, and put the exclamation point on the lineup with a 9-9. We couldn't ask for anything more.
All right, here's Emily Kelly for the Golden Flashes.
She's going to go toe shoot to handstand, right into a ginger. A little bit of form break on that release move, and she just misses the bar.
First mistake we've seen from either team in this first rotation.
She goes into a bail. And up to the high bar for her dismount, just shy of that handstand. A little bit of form break in the giant full, into a double back, just a step back.
So Kelly completes her rotation, and the Golden Flashes look like they have a 49.075, assuming Kelly's won't be counted. Timko with a 9.825. Stupinski leads the way with a 9.875, but a couple of 49s up on the board for both teams to start. Impressive, and exactly what you expect from the top two in the conference.
Absolutely, that is exactly what we expected to see here in this first rotation. Two solid scores that are very close range within each other, just a 3/4 of a tenth lead. So I anticipate a very close meet throughout the entire duration of today's competition.
Last year, Central Michigan won this meet at Kent, and it was close. 195.775 to 195.675. Just by that much, Central Michigan was able to pull it out. And even the all-time series history, Kent State and Central Michigan, very close. The Chippewas with a 47-44 advantage. So again, everything nip and tuck when these two get together.
Absolutely, and that 1/10 can make all the difference, and that is why you talk about every day in practice, make every single 10th count. Even if it's not the best routine you've ever put up, you never know when you're going to need to count your score. So you want to absolutely put everything out there and leave nothing on the table when you're out there competing.
Looks like we're going to have an exhibition from Sammy Nero for Kent State. That stands in the way of us concluding our first rotation between the Chippewas and the Golden Flashes. And just a reminder, if you're just joining us, top score on the vault for Central Michigan, as they have a 49, was Danielle Pedrick. The sixth to compete, a 9.9 for the sophomore. Sydney Williams second with a 9.8 for Kent State. 49.075, and so far led the way by Stupinski, a 9.875. Timko right behind her at a 9.825. And one more to go in the opening rotation between the Chippewas and the Golden Flashes.
They're still just coming up with a conclusion for Emily Kelly's score. Looks like it's going to be an 8-7.
Either way, we knew they weren't going to count that one, obviously.
Yep, that is the beauty of putting 6 up and only having to count 5. They still have a solid event score. So she goes kip cast into a blind half, into a very large Jaeger. Great amplitude. Kip cast into a bail to handstand. Just a little bit of form break there. She goes straight up to the high bar for her dismount, just shy of handstand. Giant full into a double back. Chest a little bit low and a step forward, but that was a very solid routine. Definitely competitive for their lineup.
Solid routines all around for Central Michigan on the vault and Kent State on the bars. 2 49 pluses put up in the opening rotation, a 49 flat for Central Michigan. Kent State just a bit better, as they are great bar workers in Kent, Ohio, 49.075. And I mean, for two coaches, have to be pretty pleased with the starts on either side.
And I think that they were very expected scores from both teams. You know, Kent State is notoriously very strong on bars usually every season. So that strong 49.075 is typical for them. It's an average day for them since they're very strong on that event.
Central Michigan strong on the vault, and we'll get the bars from the Chippewas next. And coming up after that, it'll be Kent State on the vault. Second rotation is next between the Golden Flashes and the Chippewas. One rotation in the books at McGurk Arena on the campus of Central Michigan University. The Chippewas, 26th ranked in the country, a 49 flat. Kent State, a 49.075. Golden Flashes, they work the bars very well, and they've got a slight lead heading into the second rotation. A couple of the top teams in the Mid-American Conference and the country. Kent State, 33rd ranked. Central Michigan, 26th, as we just mentioned. Here's the look at the scores from that vault rotation one more time. Again, Pedrick, Clements, Williams, and Kennedy Ray Johnson, the final four, really accelerating the scores there for CMU after one round. For Kent State, the same thing. Emily Kelly with a fall, but Timko, Stepinski, their best scores, both above 9.8. And the Golden Flashes now warming up on the vaults. Chippewas 5-1, 3-0 in Mid-American Conference play, and the Golden Flashes 5-2 and 2-1 in the conference. Kent State continuing to get better as this season goes on. They had their best road score, a 195.325 on the road against Western Michigan. As you take a look at the lineups coming up for Kent State, and Coach Bryce Biggin says this team is trying to work on getting tougher and building their confidence. And there's the lineup for Central Michigan. Slight change for the Chippewas as the freshman Kennedy Ray Johnson will lead off in a huge spot against the Golden Flashes in this second rotation.
Kennedy is somebody that's been in and out of the bar lineup this season, but has consistently either been in lineup or in exhibition. So I think that we can trust her to do a great job in the leadoff spot.
Under a minute until we'll get started between the Golden Flashes and the Chippewas in the second rotation. Again, huge meet here on this Sunday afternoon. The winner will be in first place in the MAC. Central Michigan trying to stay perfect, and Kent State, after a very close loss last year at home against Central Michigan, trying to get some payback this season. Chippewas have been good on the bars this year, 21st in the country, while Kent State, they've really struggled on the vault, 50th in the country and 7th in the Mid-American Conference. And Coach Biggin says their depth just isn't where it needs to be this season, and that's something that they try and get through and are hoping to get the best scores that they can. But he said it's definitely the weak spot in their lineup.
Vault is a wear and tear event on your body. It's high impact, and so having that depth really requires a lot of healthy athletes, and I think that's where a major part of the struggle comes in for a lot of teams. You know, Central Michigan notoriously always struggling to find that depth in that lineup as well, so I think that's a common theme across the NCAA.
So Rachel Stepinski, the two-time rating MAC Gymnast of the Year, will compete in all-around once again today for Kent State. She leads off the vault rotation. Here goes the senior.
She's going to do a hand front pike. Very cleanly executed, just a small hop forward, but an awesome lead off for their lineup.
So the senior coming through again for Kent State, providing a spark to the Golden Flashes lineup as they start their second rotation. We'll see if Danelle Pedrick can do the same.
Another last-minute change to the lineup. Danelle is going to lead off with a big Takachev, just amazing amplitude in that release move. Nice hit handstand into a giant full, right into a packed salto, very cleanly executed. And she goes up to the high bar for her dismount. She does a little bit different dismount. She's going to go giant full and put her toes on the bar, do a front tuck with a half off, and she sticks the landing. Great, great lead off for the Chippewas.
What a routine for Danelle Pedrick. Great answer. Back and forth we go. And you're right, it's a quick change right at the end. We were expecting to get Kennedy Ray Johnson as the change. Instead, Danelle Pedrick, who was slated to go second, goes first.
Here goes the second vault for Kent State as a Yurchenko tuck full. Starts from a 9.9 start value, so a little bit lower than what they would hope to put up, but they have some Yurchenko layout fulls in the lineup as well, which start from a 9.95.
A true freshman, Sydney Chapman, out of Mineral Wells, West Virginia, competing there for Kent State. And now it looks like we'll get Kennedy Ray Johnson.
So it looks like they just made a swap in who was ready at the time. So Danelle led off, and Kennedy is going second.
Stepinski's vault score is up, a 9.775 for the senior. Just the third time the freshman Kennedy Ray Johnson will compete on bars this season, but she sets a high bar. Western Michigan, a 9.9 for the freshman. See if she can duplicate that performance today. She's up and rolling on the bars.
Here goes Nasha Manticle Davis. She's going to do her Yurchenko layout half. Looks like her legs gave out a little bit on that landing there, just a stumble on the landing. Kennedy starts off solid with a giant full Ginger right into a bail. Her dismount is going to be very high. Tuck full in. Just a step forward, but a nice routine.
So the freshman in just her third competition of the season on the bars wraps that up, going second in the rotation. Gets a nice hug from the senior Macy Hilliker. Sarah McCarty next up for the Golden Flashes. Kent State with a slight lead after one rotation as we battle on in the second rotation. Danelle Pedrick led off a 9.825 on the bars rotation for CMU.
Very nice leadoff score. That's exactly where you want to be in that leadoff spot. Here goes Sarah McCarty on vault. Her vault is going to be a hand front with a pike off, but her knees were a little bit bent, so they might give her the tuck. It looked like she was aiming for that pike shape there. That vault starts from a 10.0 if it is piked with a half twist, so that's a very nice vault to have in their lineup.
Yeah, high quality vault indeed. Manical Davis a 9.7, Chapman a 9.75. Stepinski still leading on the vault. Scores for Kent State with a 9.775.
Here goes junior Kaylee Miller. She's going to go to the high bar and kip cast right into a blind half straddle Jaeger. Very nice. Just a little bit of a form break there on the catch. Bail the handstand, very clean. Here she goes to the high bar for her dismount. Is going to be a tuck full in, just like Kennedy Ray Johnson. Just a small step backward, very strong routine. They are building on that momentum. That's exactly what we want to see here.
Kaylee Miller with a nice performance. A lot of energy and excitement in this arena right now. This is Fletcher.
Yurchenko layout full, very nicely executed. Big amplitude, clean in the air, just a small hop backwards. Big vault for the freshman.
Abby Fletcher She'll be relied on a lot today. Didn't see her on the bars, but she will be in the next 2 rotations as well. See her on floor and balance beam. She is the leader coming out on the balance beam to get that rotation started. So Coach Biggin puts a lot of confidence in his freshman.
Here goes sophomore Haley Porter. She's going to mount over the low bar. And she is going to do a giant full into a ganger. Oh, she saves that handstand. She almost went over. Just throws an extra giant in there to gain her momentum back. Very nice. Hip to cast handstand, right into a bail to handstand. She's responding incredibly well to that little hiccup she had at the beginning. We're looking for her to finish strong here. She's going to go kip cast. And her dismount is also going to be a tuck full in, just like Kaylee and Kennedy. Very big amplitude, and she sticks a dismount. That is exactly what you want to see out of an athlete. She fought to the very, very end and improved throughout her routine.
Nice job by Haley Porter. 9.825 and 9.8 for Miller and Johnson. 9.825 back-to-back for Kent State from McCarty and Fletcher. And here's Sammy Nero one more time. She just went moments ago.
Yurchenko tuck full, chest pretty low on that landing. It's going to be a significant deduction for them.
Yeah, 9.6. So the Golden Flashes definitely won't count that score. They'll take the top 5, their lowest being a 9.7. So a 48.875 up on the board right now on the vault for the Golden Flashes.
You see a 9.65 going up for Haley Porter on the bars, but overall, that's exactly what we want to see. Like I said, she fought and she saved it for the team. So 9.65 is much better than going over on that cast and taking a 5/10 deduction. Here goes Gianna Plaxa. She's blind half into a Jaeger. A little far on that release move, but she really reaches for it. Bail the handstand, very nicely executed. Gianna is wonderful in that she is so clean. Everything she does has perfectly pointed toes, legs are together. She goes double front dismount, just a small step backwards, but overall, very, very nice routine for the Chippewas.
So 5 down for Central Michigan after Gianna completes her routine. Brittany Kaplan set to go next for Central Michigan. A senior that has been a fighter for the Chippewas and is a terrific bar worker. No surprise why she's anchoring that lineup for Central Michigan. So the Golden Flashes right now, their score a 97.95 after 2 rotations. Golden Flashes will go over to the floor next. And again, waiting for the scores from Plaxa. Jordan mentioned Porter with a 9.65. Kaplan set to go next for CMU. There's the senior from Parker, Colorado, ready to go for CMU.
Here goes Brittany Kaplan. She's going to go kip cast right into a blind half into a Corkina. New release move for her this season. She's going to go giant half right down to the low bar. Brittany is so strong on this event. I know we talk about it every time, but she is a force to be reckoned with on the uneven bars. She really knows how to swing. Very nice dismount. Double layout, just a small hop forward, but they needed that because they're hoping to drop that 9.65 from Haley Porter.
Plaxa right now, the best score, a 9.85. And the senior Kaplan waiting to see what her score is. Without the Kaplan score, Central Michigan sitting at a 48.95, which is going to be either way better than what Kent State did on the vault. So after 2 rotations, we are pretty darn close. Exactly what you would expect from the top two in the Mid-American Conference. Central Michigan right around the top 25. Kent State around the top 30. Only one loss in the conference between these two teams. And again, we told you that Kent State, their weakness has been the vault this year, so held their own though. And we'll have one exhibition as well. Courtney Campbell, who's normally in the rotation, a senior, going to be an exhibition today.
And that is the beauty of having the depth in this lineup that they have, is that they can make switches and still have very strong competitors go in the exhibition spot. Giant full into a ginger, very nicely executed. Kip cast handstand, she hits it very well. Right into her bail. And she's going to go up to the high bar for her dismount. Is going to be a giant full into a double back. Courtney is doing an excellent job at really hitting those handstands. Very, very nice routine for Courtney. She responded well to being unfortunately taken out of that lineup, which of course, as an athlete, is something you never want to see happen. But for the good of the team, you know, you gotta put in your strongest six for the day and hope that you went with the right decision.
Yeah, she's a senior that's been in that bar rotation the last couple of years, and obviously, as Jordan, you mentioned, not a spot she wants to be in, but her team did perform very well, and she capped it off in the exhibition. Brittany Kaplan, a 9.825. So Central Michigan showing why they are terrific bar workers as well, a 49.125. And the Chippewas have overtaken the Golden Flashes after two rotations.
Yep, we see a turnaround in the scores. It's 98.125 to 97.950. Still a narrow lead, so it's going to be close, and it'll come down to these last two events.
Here are the scores on the vault for Kent State. And again, back to Central Michigan. Gianna Plexa sticking out, a 9.85. Kaplan and Pedrick, 9.825s. Porter, the lowest score, a 9.65, which won't be counted, but even her routine was pretty good. Central Michigan and Kent State showing you why they're the best in the conference. Right now, the Chippewas, a 98.125. And the Golden Flashes, a 97.95. So two rotations down in Mount Pleasant and ready to go with the third rotation when we come back. Kent State will be on the floor. Central Michigan on the balance beam. It's close. Stay with us. There are your scores after two rotations between Kent State and Central Michigan. The Chippewas with a slight edge, a 98.125. The Golden Flashes, a 97.95, as we're getting set for the third rotations between the Chippewas and Golden Flashes. Adam Jackson, former CMU gymnast Jordan Charette with you on ESPN3. Watched a good basketball game yesterday afternoon. Central Michigan women took down Eastern Michigan 95-82, and another great performance from a potential MAC Player of the Year candidate, Tanara Moore. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 8 blocks. And the Chippewas, for the third straight year, clinched a top 4 seed in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. They've got the first round bye to Cleveland. Chippewas now 21-4, 13-1 in the Mid-American Conference. They are sitting in first place, a game ahead Buffalo. So another terrific game yesterday for 11th year head coach Sue Guevara and the Chippewas. And just a reminder for the men and the women, if you want to get down to Cleveland to check out that Mid-American Conference Tournament, here's how you can get your tickets, visiting CMUChippewas.com or Ticket Central. Men's basketball and women's basketball taking place in March at Quicken Loans Arena for the conference crown. That'll all be settled in Cleveland. So touch warm-ups continuing to go on between Kent State and Central Michigan as they get ready for the floor and the balance beam. And so far, Jordan, we have seen a really tight contested contest, which is exactly what you would expect with these two as you take a look at Kent State's floor lineup coming up. But two of the best in the conference, showing you why through the first two rotations. Haven't been a ton of mistakes. Each team fighting hard. A lot of energy and passion you could see out there. Both teams, as you would expect, really want to win this one.
Of course, and you know, as we can see, Kent State and Central Michigan always relatively evenly matched, and they bring their A game to every time they're in a dual meet. So we can expect to see some action go down in these last two events, and you know, notoriously there are a lot of changes that could happen just between the balance beam alone. You know, that's a lot of times where the nerves come out, and you have to be able to channel your energy the right way, whether you've got too much or not enough, and you got to really be able to put it all out there.
Central Michigan leading the MAC with a balance beam average 48.717. Their scores averaged out to be this season, and the Chippewas hoping they can continue that. For Kent State, they've been the best on the floor in the Mid-American Conference, averaging just over a 49. So again, two rotations that each team has had to strengthen this season.
Leading off is senior Miranda Wazorek. Very strong competitor on the balance beam, which is why they have chosen to move her from the end of the lineup and put her first. She's just a very reliable and consistent athlete, phased by nothing when she's out there on the beam. So she's just very stable-minded up there.
We talk about it every week, but she's so impressive. Has come back from 2 ACL injuries and here to fight and battle and be in the lineup her senior season. Really a great story.
And she sees a slight wobble on her series there, but she is able to stay cool and collected and save that. Very nice jump combination for Miranda.
Season high for Wazorek, a 9.825. Also a career high.
She's going to go split jump into a standing layout. Very solid on that. And here she goes for her dismount. It's going to be a gainer pike off the end. Just a small hop forward, but awesome lead off for the Chippewas, and that is exactly what they expect from Miranda. Just another day for her.
A nice bounce back from last week. Had a fall at Illinois State with a 9.2. So the senior comes home and cleans up her routine. Gets Central Michigan off to a nice start in the third rotation. This is Michaela Romito.
She is going to do a front handspring into a Rudy. Just a little bit of form break on that Rudy. You see legs apart a little bit, but nice routine for Michaela.
Romito been consistent the last 4 meets, right in the 9.7 range on her scores on the floor. And now Gianna Plaxa ready to step up to the balance beam. Trying to calm her nerves before she gets up there in a tightly contested and highly anticipated dual meet between the Chippewas and the Golden Flashes. Again, the last 15 years, the regular season championship has come from one of these two teams. And it's shaping up that way again in 2018. As we get closer and closer to the MAC championships, which will be held right here in Mount Pleasant.
Miranda Wazorek leading off with a 9.725. Here goes Gianna on beam. She leads with very risky skill. Front tuck mount onto the beam. Gets one of those major requirements out of the way right off the bat. And she goes for her leap combination. Is going to be a switch leap into a split 3/4. And here goes her series. It's going to be a back handspring layout step out. We'll pull tall to her landing. Very nicely done. She's going to do a sheep jump where she actually tosses her head back and loses sight of the beam. Very difficult element. Here she goes for her dismount. Same as Miranda. Gainer pike off the end. Just the slightest hop step backwards, but very solid routine, keeping that momentum going throughout that beam lineup. Exactly what they want to see today. Here is Alyssa Quinlan on the floor. Gonna do a 2.5 twist. Very nicely done. Very difficult tumbling pass, especially for her last pass. Impressive for the Kent State floor lineup. Looks like another solid routine for them.
Romito first on the floor at 9.775. Wazorek with the 9.725 on the balance beam for CMU. Now it's Kennedy Ray Johnson set to compete for Central Michigan.
Looks like Plaxa put up a 9.75, solid score. Beat jump into a Sassone for Kennedy Ray Johnson. And here goes her series. It's going to be a front toss into a back handspring. Unfortunately, she breaks that connection with the step there. She's going to have to figure out how to accommodate that. Looks like she's going to attempt again in the other direction. She is going to try again, do a front toss right into a back handspring. Very nice save. Responding well to adversity there in her routine. And now she is actually turned around, so it'll be interesting to see how she makes up for her difference in direction there with her dismount. Looks like they're looking to pull a mat in there on the other side. Her teammates looking out for her. And here goes her dismount. It's going to be a round off 1.5. Very nicely done by the freshman, thinking on her toes, and that is exactly what you want to see when you're up there on the beam. Very impressive for a freshman. And
good heads up from the teammates, knowing her routine and knowing they had to get the mat in there. Just the second time Kennedy Ray Johnson has competed on the balance beam this year for the Chippewas.
Proves to be dependable at that. Very nice double pike seen on the floor here. Right into a front full, difficult connection. A little bit of form break there and chest down on the landing. Lead combination is a switch side into a popa.
Sarah McCarty has had 3 scores of 9.8 or better this year on the floor.
Here goes her last pass is a double back. Very nicely done. Chest nice and tall. Just a step backwards, which will be no deduction on the floor. Kent State very excited for her on that routine.
And the Golden Flashes fans in McGurk Arena starting to chant. 9.825 for Quinlan. McCarty, another score that should be pretty good as well.
Here goes Haley Porter on the beam. Her series is going to be a backhand spring layout, step out. She was just a little bit off on that, and she is going to try again. Here she goes for her series, backhand spring layout, step out, and she is off the beam. We're looking for her to finish this routine as strong as possible because, as I mentioned earlier, every 10th counts. So even if it is not what you would like to happen up there on the balance beam, you have to pretend it just never happened and move on. Just gonna go cat leap into a side aerial. Very nice. A little wobble there on the full turn, just moving a little bit too fast. Here she goes, her dismount is going to be gainer pike off the end, just like Gianna and Miranda. And she sticks the landing. Solid finish for Haley Porter.
So Porter bounces back after slipping off the beam. See if her teammates can pick her up.
And we see a 9-6 there for Kennedy Johnson. But again, great thing she fought, because unfortunately Haley came off the beam, so she saved her team 5/10 there.
This is Nasha Manickle-Davis. Freshman from Greenwood, Indiana.
Switch side into a Popa. Nasha, very different choreography, but great to see. She's a strong dancer and a strong tumbler as well. Very nice executed double back.
Golden Flashes doing well over on the floor rotation as we're midway through this third rotation between the Chippewas and the Golden Flashes. Central Michigan leading after 2 rotations with a 98.125. Golden Flashes right behind him with a 97.95. Sophomore Danelle Pedrick getting set to go up on the balance beam. The all-arounder for Central Michigan, and the Chippewas could use a big score after Johnson with a 9-6. Haley Porter unable to stay on the balance beam, so Central Michigan looking to get a big score from one of their best competitors, Danelle Pedrick. A lot of pressure coming up here.
Yeah, Danelle just running through her routine a few more times, staying loose. The judges are having a conference and coming to a decision on what they're going to do with Haley Porter's routine in terms of requirements and whether or not she met all of them with her fall.
Pedrick has been consistent this year in the 9-7s or 9-8s. Up on the balance beam.
Here goes Abby Fletcher on floor for Kent State. Her first pass is going to be a very huge double layout. Very nicely executed. Kent State proving to be incredibly strong in their floor rotation here tonight.
3 straight 9.8s or better from Kent State. Fletcher trying to continue that trend.
Second pass going to be a 1.5 front layout. Very clean. Nicely done for the freshman, Abby Fletcher. Looks like they have come to a conclusion on Haley Porter's routine to be a 9.15, bringing up Danelle Pedrick in the 5th spot. Very nice full turn. She's going to go for her series. Should be a back handspring, layout step out. Very nice. Cat leap into a switch split half. And she's going to go into a front aerial for her acro element. Just a small wobble, but she pulls it back. Dismount, going to be a round off double full. Very nice. That is exactly what they needed, a change in pace to bring them back on track.
Sophomore continuing to have a terrific season. Danelle Pedrick from Saskatchewan, Canada. Won the all-around at Illinois State in the Chippewas last meet with a 39 flat. Trying to pick up the scores of Johnson and Porter. Katie Clements, senior captain, will round out the lineup next for Central Michigan, but first...
Here is the much anticipated Rachel Stupinski.
Exactly.
Very strong athlete on every event, but she is known for her incredible tumbling on floor. Just a very intimidating athlete all around, as you can see in her choreography here. First pass, huge double layout. And she has a misstep in her tumbling pass and just as a round off double tuck. Very impressive, actually, that she was able to pull that off.
Trying to follow up a 9-9 from Fletcher. Kent State has had a great floor routine.
Yeah, and she actually has enough difficulty in her floor routine that probably will not affect her. Double pike as her second pass.
Lowest score in the
leap combination there.
Lowest score in the floor routine, Jordan, 9.775 for Kent State. They've been really strong.
And here she goes for her last pass. It's going to be a 2.5 punch front layout. Has actually upgraded that to a front full in the past. Very impressive as a last pass, especially. You can see Katie Clements having a very strong routine here. About midway through her beam routine here, just nearing the end. Very incredible athlete to anchor this lineup as well. She goes for her dismount, gainer full. Nicely done. That is exactly what they want.
So after a 9-7 from Pedrick, Katie Clements with a tremendous performance per usual on the balance beam. And we'll see what that elevates Central Michigan's score to. Stupinski waiting for her score. Kent State right now sitting at a 49.15 on the floor. Tashi Richard will conclude the third rotation with an exhibition.
And as you can see, Rachel Stupinski still scoring a 9.825 despite the mishap that could have been disastrous for them on floor. She responded very well to that. Very impressive.
So a 49.2 for Kent State. Really nice floor rotation for the Golden Flashes.
Here goes Kaylee Miller on beam. This is the first time she is going to be on the beam in a competition. She goes for a front aerial.
Katie Clements, in the meantime, score is up, a 9-9 for the senior. Big time score for CMU.
Kaylee looking solid so far. Her series is going to be a back handspring layout, step out. Very nicely done. Kaylee looking incredibly calm up there for not having competed on the balance beam yet for Central Michigan. And she goes for her dismount, going to be a gainer pike off the end, a common theme in the Central Michigan lineup. Nails the dismount. Very nicely done for Kaylee Miller on her beam debut.
Tashi Richard finishing up in her exhibition on the floor. And that'll wrap up the third rotation, but we start with Kent State. Jordan, they were locked in on the floor and a 49.2. Their lowest score was a 9.775. You had 4 9.8s or above and a 9.9 from Fletcher. Golden Flashes really brought it on the floor. Absolutely. They had very, very strong rotation on the floor. Chippewas with a 48.675, having the unfortunate fall from Haley Porter. And the low score from Kennedy Johnson is a 9.6, but as we mentioned before, great fight seen from her. So there's the scores for Kent State on the floor. Again, no doubt their best rotation of the afternoon, a 49.2. And for Central Michigan, first time they were below a 49. Again, a couple of difficult scorers, Kennedy Ray Johnson, Haley Porter, but brought up by Danelle Pedrick and Katie Clements at the end of that lineup. But the pressure now back on the side of Central Michigan as the Golden Flashes have reclaimed the lead at the moment. A 147.15. Central Michigan with a 146.675. One rotation left. Central Michigan to the floor. Kent State to the balance beam. Each team trying to take down the other to get atop the Mid-American Conference standings. Fourth and final rotation coming up between Central Michigan and Kent State. A couple of top teams in the Mid-American Conference. The Chippewas sitting 26th in the country. The Golden Flashes sitting 33rd. And Kent State with a slight advantage at the moment. Just a reminder, for more gymnastics, you can come visit McGurk Arena on March 24th. The 2018 Gymnastics Championships in the MAC will be held right here. All the teams will compete for another MAC championship. That's Saturday, March 24th. Of course, if you can't get up here to Mount Pleasant, you can check it out on ESPN3. Kent State fans making it out along with Central Michigan fans here. And a reminder, earlier in March, the MAC Wrestling Championships will also be held here in Mount Pleasant. Those are March 3rd and 4th, that first weekend in March. So a lot going on in the month of March. Gymnastics and wrestling up here in McGurk Arena. Well, Jordan, one rotation left. What have you seen so far tonight from both sides? I've seen an incredible amount of fight on both sides. Very impressive reactions to adversity on both sides, as we saw Rachel Stupinski with the very unusual flip up in her first pass, still manages to pull off a very nicely executed tumbling pass. Kennedy Johnson responding to adversity very well in her beam routine, pulling off a 9.6 routine when she almost came off the beam. So I think that we've seen a lot of heart here in this meet and a lot of fight. For Central Michigan, you take a look at their floor lineup. What's it going to take for the Chippewas to overtake Kent State in this final rotation as they come in just a bit behind? I think it's going to take what they do every day. I mean, honestly, Chippewas are incredibly strong on floor as well, so it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a very close meet, and it'll highly depend also on what Kent State comes up with on the balance beam. There's the Kent State balance beam lineup. One more rotation to go. Central Michigan atop the Mid-American Conference, undefeated at 3-0. Ball State is second at 2-0, and Kent State right behind both teams at 2-1. But the Golden Flashes would do a lot to help their chances at a regular season championship with a huge win on the road today. Chippewas trying to prevent that from happening, but they need a really strong floor rotation to do so. And we'll see how determined and ready the Golden Flashes are on the balance beam. Have not seen a lot of mistakes from either team today. Some really good gymnastics in Mount Pleasant. Two head coaches that want this one. Jerry Reigard in his 34th season. Bryce Biggin in his 27th. Both alums of their current schools they are coaching. And again, two of the top teams in this conference right at the best time of the year, heading towards March. Abby Fletcher had the best score on the floor for Kent State, a 9.9. She's up on the balance beam.
Very impressive spot to put a freshman as a leadoff position. Shows that she's very dependable here in this beam lineup. Here goes her series. Back handspring layout. Step out just a little bit off in that landing, but she does a wonderful job at pulling her shoulders square and staying down.
Courtney Campbell also competing on floor for CMU.
Goes her leap combination. Very nicely done. Different full turn done there. That's always nice to see. For her dismount will be a front fold, just a small hop. Very strong leadoff for Kent State.
Abby Fletcher, the freshman, doing a great job today.
Courtney just finishing up a solid floor routine in the leadoff spot for the Chippewas.
So each student athlete setting the tone in this fourth rotation. One more look at Courtney Campbell as this was her last pass, Jordan.
It's going to be a 2.5 twist. Very difficult tumbling pass put at the end of the floor lineup, or end of her floor routine. Very nicely done. Controlled landing. Minimal deductions there. So we see a 9.75 in the leadoff spot for Abby Fletcher.
This is Sarah Lipowich getting ready for Kent State.
Here she goes for her series. It's going to be a back handspring layout, step out, just a small wobble on the landing. She's able to save it. She goes beat jump into a split 3/4, a little bit of a wobble there. Cat leap into a side aerial. Very nicely done. Pulls tall to her finish. Full turn. Looking like she's really settling into this beam routine here. Less and less wobbles. As we're going to split the screens here between Nora Fettinger. Not enough double full. Some form breaks there, but she saves the landing. Doesn't take a step. As we saw a 2.5 twist for Nora's first pass, as we saw in Courtney's last pass. Chippewas just celebrating a career high for Courtney Campbell on the floor with a 9.825. Very impressive for the senior, just coming into her own here in her senior year.
Exactly what CMU needed.
Very nicely done for Nora. Wonderful routine for the Chippewas.
Coach Jerry Rygaard, I don't think you can ask for a better start from your first two on the floor from Campbell and Fettinger. Couple of nice routines on the balance beam. Quinlan is up next. Alyssa Quinlan for Kent State. Abby Roseller will go for Central Michigan on the floor. Midway through this fourth rotation, Kent State came in with a small lead in this final set. Junior from Granger, Indiana, just waiting to get the nod from the judges before she starts.
See a 9.475 going up for Sarah Lipowich. Just some minor bobbles throughout the routine have added up to a significant deduction, but she fought, she stayed on the beam, and that's important.
A lot of pressure to close on the road, leading And finishing with the balance beam. Not an easy task.
Very nice front aerial. Clean and solid. Here she goes for her series. Going to be a big handspring, layout, step out. Very nicely done. Leap combination is going to be a switch split into a split jump. Another leap, switch side. Alyssa looking very strong throughout this beam routine. No wobbles yet, and a stuck dismount. Very nice job.
Great rotation from Alyssa Quinlan, the junior from Granger, Indiana. This is Abby Rose Zeller for CMU.
Abby in the midst of a very solid floor routine so far. Here goes her leap combination, switch side into a popa. Final tumbling pass, just going to be a Rudy. And here she goes. Looking for that chest to stay tall, right into a very big straddle jump. Nicely done for the junior.
So Abby Rose Zeller continuing 3 good scores for Central Michigan. 9.825, a 9.775 from Fettiger. Abby Rose Zeller coming up next with her score. Then you have Plaxa, Pedrick, and Clements to finish for CMU. Strong final 3. The Golden Flashes will have a great score coming from Quinlan. And then have Marrero, Plood, and Stupinski. Also a strong 3 finishers. Going to come right down to the end. Quinlan gets a 9.775. So here is Marrero.
Marrero, a specialist on this event. Expecting to see big things from her here. Front aerial, almost lost that connection there, but she fights through it. Goes into a full turn, just a slight wobble, minimal deductions though. Front aerial, another slight balance check, all minimal deductions though. Sassone into a tuck full. Here she goes for her dismount cat leap into a gainer full off the side. Just a little skewed in direction there. That'll be a small deduction, but overall, solid beam routine for the Kent State Flashes. Here is Gianna Plaxa.
Plaxa trying to continue the pressure that's being put on by Central Michigan in this 4th rotation. They've had 3 really nice scores.
Plaxa, an all-around athlete for Central Michigan, has really grown each year she's been on campus here, competing for the Chippewas. But always known for her incredibly strong performances on the floor. Just has her final tumbling pass left. It's going to be a front handspring Rudy. Very nicely done. Chippewas proving to be very impressive tonight on the floor exercise. Exactly what they needed.
Just what we saw from Kent State a rotation ago. Central Michigan is bringing it right back on the floor. 2 teams that are very strong in this rotation. And the Chippewas with 4 straight solid rotations. Zeller, the highest at 9.85, and you have Pedrick and Clements to finish.
Chippewas and the Golden Flashes separated by just 1/10 at this point in the meet. It is close, and we are expecting this to come right down to the final routines here in this last rotation.
We knew that going in, though, didn't we?
Absolutely. That's what makes watching these meets so much fun, though. Front toss into a back handspring right off the bat, getting that series out of the way.
This is the junior, Kennedy Plood.
Full turn, just a slight balance check, moves right through it very nicely. Here she goes for her acro combination. It's going to be a cat leap into a front toss. Very solid jump combination for Kennedy. Finishing up her routine here. Her dismount, a round off 1.5. Very nicely done for Kennedy.
Sophomore Danelle Pedrick competing over on the floor for Central Michigan.
Just finishing a very difficult first tumbling pass is a triple full. Here she goes for her second pass. It's going to be a round off 1.5 punch front layout. Very nicely done. Here she goes for her final tumbling pass. Is going to be a double pike. Great routine for Danelle. Continuing that momentum that the Chippewas have had on floor all rotation.
Danelle Pedrick with another fantastic day for CMU. The all-arounder looking good once again. And the Chippewas with 5 straight really good routines. Plaxa a 9.875, the leader. Clements to continue.
Here goes Rachel Stupinski, much anticipated front aerial into a back tuck. Very effortlessly done.
The bars champ at the MAC championships a season ago, or the beam champ as well.
Back handspring layout step out. Very solid, as always, for Rachel. Kent State with 3 back-to-back 9.775s, very consistent throughout the lineup. Hoping to drop that 9.475 from Sarah Lipowicz. She goes for her dismount, round off, double full, stakes the landing. As always, for Rachel Stupinski, very impressive routine. And they will be able to drop that 9.475 for Sarah. So a new outcome for the Kent State Flashes, where they sit at a 195.7 right now, likely to be much higher after Rachel's routine.
Central Michigan sitting at a 196 right now with a 49.2, but hoping they can get a big score from Clements to finish off the night.
It is all coming down to these anchor spots, as both Katie and Rachel also anchored the last event. So really a head-to-head matchup here. Very nicely done double tuck for Katie. Here she goes for her second pass. Is going to be a front full front layout into a stag jump, covering up any kind of landing deduction she could have had there. Very smartly executed. Here she goes for her final tumbling pass. It's going to be a double pike. Here she goes for the double pike. Very strong landing for Katie Clements. Impressive, as always, from the senior.
What a finish to this meet. A 9.9 from Stupinski. It's a 196.125. Did Clements do enough?
She is going to have to be 0.125 better than a 9.775 to tie this meet.
It's close.
And now we wait. This is always the worst part here. Still have a couple of exhibition performances to go here.
All in the hands of the judges.
And it looks like Clements went 9.925, pushing the Chippewas just a quarter of a tenth over the Kent State Flashes. As anticipated, such a very, very close meet, but so exciting here in McGurk Arena.
What a score, as Central Michigan with a 196.15. And Coach Bryce Biggin talking with the judges, trying to get the explanation. But what a meet. Back and forth, and Central Michigan looks like, again, they're going to hang on just barely against Kent State. The second 196 of the season for the Chippewas. The first for the Golden Flashes, but it's not going to be enough.
And here is sophomore Sydney Williams. First time on the floor for the Chippewas. She is an impressive tumbler. Unfortunately, tore her Achilles actually on the floor exercise at their opening event last year. So she was out for the whole season, and really just proving to be a very valuable competitor here for CMU.
So wrapping up the meet here. Again, it looks like Central Michigan has pulled it off. The Chippewas in front with a 196.15. They came in trailing into the fourth rotation, but very strong on the floor. 49.35, and you can't ask for a better finish. Pressure was on, and Central Michigan came through, and they delivered today. A huge win for the Chippewas to stay perfect in the Mid-American Conference.
Absolutely. This will hold them in the top spot for the regular season MAC championship standings. So very, very impressive, exciting night here in McGurk Arena.
So there's the final. Central Michigan takes down Kent State 196.15 to a 196.125. And the Chippewas staying perfect in the conference. Now 6-1, 4-0. The Golden Flashes, they put up their best score of the season, Jordan. And, you know, Coach can't be upset with the way that they competed today, because they were outstanding. This came right down to the end. Not at all. I thought we saw some very, very impressive lineups from both teams, and overall just great gymnastics to watch. So we couldn't ask for anything more here in McGurk Arena. Very competitive night. So, and of course, a great outcome for the Chippewas here in McGurk Arena. Golden Flashes will go home disappointed. They'll get another crack at Central Michigan and the entire MAC when we have the Gymnastics Championships right back here in Mount Pleasant, as the two teams will compete in that once again. But what a meet. Central Michigan comes out on top as they take down Kent State. Chippewas now 6-1, 4-0 in the MAC, while the Golden Flashes 5-3 and 2-2. For our entire crew, Jordan Charette, Adam Jackson saying so long from Mount Pleasant. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.